Well, good morning, everyone. And once again, welcome to another live here this morning. And hope you're having a great day and a beautiful fall, the start to fall. First day of fall yesterday, but it's been very nice. And Rowena, Diane, and Nick, how are you this morning? Hope you're having a good start to your day. Michael in Wawa and Kristen, Evangeline, Rosa, good morning to you. Guylaine and Buta and John. Okay, I hope you had a good birthday yesterday, John. Keith, good morning to you. Suzanne, Ruby, Darlene, and 19 others that just came on that. Sharon, Cheryl, Alex, and Maria, Lori, and another Sarah, Joan, Sophie, all across Canada, all across the United States, Jerry, and good morning to you. Jeanette, how are you? Shirley from Newfoundland, good to have you on. Elaine and Barbara and Patricia and Diane, good morning. Wendy, hope you're having a great day. We're going to talk this morning, part 2 of drip, 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 cortisol. Okay, so we're gonna focus in on that this morning. Finish off what we were talking about yesterday. Just a quick recap. We talked about that these things start in the brain. Now, stress can come in different ways. Okay, so when I talk about stress, it can be relational, and that's probably the number one thing. Family dynamics, past, worry about the future. These are all things that can stress, and sometimes you don't realize it, and you can have, the major symptoms of stress. We talked about this yesterday, but one of the biggest things is fatigue. If you're fatigued, okay, and especially like if you look at what chronic fatigue is and fibromyalgia, these are disorders. And they were new. Think about it. Like, you never heard of chronic fatigue syndrome until the 1980s. And then it seemed like women were dropping like flies. They had to even rename or name a disorder. Chronic fatigue started with the yuppie flu, they called it. And they also named it Epstein-Barr virus because about 50% of the people that had it had Epstein-Barr, but it was never really the virus, because think about this for a minute. It's like the herpes virus. You get the chicken pox as a kid, you got that virus, and what it does, it goes to bed. It has a snooze. It lays dormant. And it's not until the body, either through stress, where you can get herpes zoster. What is herpes zoster? Shingles. What happened? It's the immune system, that very virus that was there all along, that was asleep, gets activated. Cold sores. That's a herpes. It gets activated. Stress. It's always a major factor. And when I was writing about chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia in the late 80s, I think I was the first guy. Now, maybe I wasn't, but I think I was. That talked about the link to cortisol. And years later, I wrote another book, Two hormones that want you dead, serial killers. One of them is food, insulin, and the other one is cortisol. I should write another book on the 3 serial killers: insulin, cortisol, and estrogen. Because that's a growth hormone. Cortisol is adding fuel to the fire. And this is why, I got shingles. It came out of nowhere. Yeah, but stress will suppress the immune system. Because if you think about it, when you're in the fight or flight mode, your body's not thinking about fighting an infection. It's thinking about fighting, maybe another person. Fight or flight. So it's a distraction to the body. We talked about it yesterday, but just coming back to chronic fatigue, like they called it Epstein-Barr. Well, yeah, but everybody has the Epstein-Barr virus. Your body is made to live with viruses. If your immune system is good, and this is why I've mentioned this so many times in the last several months about COVID. Yeah, like the world is focused in on the virus. I'm more focused in on your immune system. I want your immune system to be strong. And so stress can have a major effect. We talked about it yesterday, what it does to the cardiovascular system. I just want to spend another few minutes on the digestive tract and why so many people have digestive issues. Stress has a big effect on that. We always, if you go back, you go into medical school, they'll be the first ones to tell you that stress-related ulcers, like peptic ulcers, are often stress-induced. What does stress do? Oh, it makes those gastric juices. It can burn a hole in your stomach, develop an ulcer. But the other thing it does, so it can give you GERDs. It can be an accelerator. I usually find with GERDs, the acid reflux, like one of the problems, like it's a sign of insulin, but it can be, you add insulin, bad eating, and cortisol, now you have a perfect storm for acid reflux. But it also in the gut does 3 things. It creates a diversion in the gut, and then you get that overgrowth of bacteria. You get an overgrowth of yeast. That is why it's so important that you understand what stress does. Because stress is adding fuel to the fire. People take an antibiotic, they kill their friendly bacteria, they're stressed, and now they have an overgrowth of yeast, and stress promotes that overgrowth. Even of, there's a condition in medicine, not even well recognized, although it should be, called SIBO, S-I-B-O. Well, I call it S-I-F-O, SIFO, not SIBO, because I'm not so concerned about a bacteria. I'm not saying the bacteria is not there. Ladies, in your urinary tract, I'm not saying that bacteria isn't in the urinary tract, but that's not the big issue. The big issue is yeast in the urinary tract. It comes from the gut. It comes from an overgrowth. And in women that get urinary tract infections have a yeast infection. 100%. Interstitial cystitis. It is yeast. It's Candida albicans. And stress has a play in this. So getting back to chronic fatigue, this is what I did, and you know how I got to this? Questionnaire. I'm a history guy. What's going on? And these were women, 95 to 99% women, who were, you give something to a woman, she'll get it done. I married a woman like that. They're never stop. Go, go, go. And then you add stress. And like I said, it doesn't have to be, it can be stress from past, worried about the future, finances, family dynamics, children, hormones. That can give you stress. Your body is out of balance. The environment can stress you. The environment can stress you. We live in a toxic soup today, and good luck getting away from it. I don't worry too much about the toxic soup I live in. I'm trying to figure out, where can I go? Costa Rica? Barbados? Probably not. So we live in a toxic soup. So, I'm all for the environment. I am. But are you going to stop living until the environment is perfect? Good luck with that. Over 100,000 chemicals have been created since World War II, and the vast majority of them are in our homes. You really can't get away from it. Oh, Doc, I eat everything organic and I have everything is, well, what do you do? Live in a bubble? And I'm not saying don't do it. I'm not saying don't eat organic. I'm not saying that. And, people criticize me for drinking out of a plastic bottle. I like to measure my 2 liters of water a day. And so, I like spring water. And you know what? People criticize me for that. I get it. I'm not a purist. I'm a realist. I just want people to start making changes in their homes and as much as they can. It's not perfect, because you can't get perfection on this planet. It's not going to happen. Because plastic is in the oceans, plastic is in the air, plastic, you can't, look, I don't think we're ever going to clean it up totally. It doesn't mean we shouldn't try. I'm just telling you what are you going to do for yourself in the meantime? Protect yourself every way you can. So go back 30 years more. When I was talking about chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia, I talked about stress. I talked about the adrenal glands, and nobody else was doing it. They were looking for a virus. I said, nah, it ain't no virus. Now, a virus might have got activated, but why? This was me. That's the way I think. Cause and effect. Cause and effect. So, and the gut gets changed. So one of the biggest things in the gut, you get leaky gut. Why is that? Not only does it promote, because it's a diversion, but the mucosa, the lining of your gut, gets changed because of blood supply. Stress diverts the blood supply. And it changes the microbiome. And this is why stress, anxiety, when you get true anxiety, can lead to depression. So pain, anxiety, depression, these are common. Tired of being tired. Well, you got to look at these things. You have to look at it. And a lot of people don't realize, because they think they're calm, but they don't realize how their body is reacting to cortisol. I'm telling you. It's made, even though I sort of specialized in the 80s and 90s in chronic fatigue syndrome, I showed you a French book yesterday. It's 25 years old. Chronic fatigue syndrome, the modern woman's curse. Boy, that's an old book. You should see the picture of me on that book, on the cover. And then I did another one called Energy Robbers and the Fatigue Cure. Happened to be a major bestseller. And I talked about, again, the cortisol, how it drains the living life out of you. Because one of the things it does, and we talked about it yesterday, is it creates insomnia. It affects your sleep. And sleep is so important for your regeneration. We talked about the glial cells going in, they work the night shift. What if you don't sleep at night? Ooh. And I'll repeat this. If you're taking a sleeping pill, you're not sleeping. You're sedated. You ever had an operation and they sedate you? You feel real good after that. Oh, did I ever have a good sleep? Because I was knocked out, sedated. Nah, you usually don't feel pretty good. Like, you know. You feel like you got hit by a truck. More like it. That's sedation, guys. That's not sleeping. It really isn't. There's no regeneration of the body occurring when you're sedated. Your glial cells were put to sleep by the sedation. They're supposed to be working the night shift. Your liver, it detoxes. It works at night, especially. And you know what? You know, I always use the example of the cell phone. You know, you can put it in airplane mode. That means there's no data coming in, right? They tell you, you get into an airplane. Do you know what an airplane is? Have you forgotten? I wonder if anybody's ever going to fly again. Anyway. But seriously, like your airplane mode in your on your cell phone is for you you don't get any data. Well, your body at night when you're sleeping goes into airplane mode. Only the things that need to work are working. Everything else is sleeping and resting. You're recharging the batteries of your body, but it doesn't happen when you're sedated. That's why I'm against that stuff. Look, if you got to take it for one night or, you know, like knock yourself out, literally. But I just got to give you the goods because I don't know, thousands of patients over the years. I said, well, you might, you know, you get hooked on that stuff very quickly. The problem is down the road, when your glial cells don't work, you're on your way to getting Alzheimer's or dementia. It's about 80%. And, unfortunately, a lot of physicians give those stuff out like they're candy. They're not candy. One prescription after another. It's not good for you. Yeah, but doc, I can't sleep without it. Yeah, but you're not sleeping. You're sedated. It's different. Anyways, I don't want to get too much into that. So we talked about fatigue and the one of the main things to look for when you're tired. Get at the root of it. Because I've had people, even on the reset, say, well, I'm fatigued. Yeah, well, give it time, because fatigue didn't come out of nowhere. And plus, cortisol is being secreted. I'm telling you, it's in the mix there somewhere. And it can play with your heart. It can play with your gut. It can play with your immune system. It can play with your muscles. I mean, it branches off in almost every area of the body, the lungs. So watch for anxiety. Watch for that cortisol. And we live in a world, I think, again, my practice has changed so much that, it was incredible, the amount, like the paradigm shift that occurred. The modern woman. A lot of it, and I was going back to, I use an example in the book. I was thinking about this yesterday, that my mother, we came from a family of 11 kids. The young people aren't having kids anymore. They're having dogs. When I see a young couple out and they're walking their 2 dogs, I said, when I was a kid in the 1950s, I was reading about yesterday, John F. Kennedy, the president of the United States. What did they have? 12 kids? Well, he came from a family. I mean, Joseph Kennedy, his father. I think they were 12. Incredible. But that, like my mother, she had 11 kids. God bless her. But they didn't live, life was simpler. Today, everything comes at us at 1,000 miles an hour, it seems. 24-hour news. Want to get rid of COVID? Turn the news off. Don't turn me off, okay? Please. No, but seriously, you know that. I was listening to a report yesterday that said today, because of the social media, people are used to speed. Remember yesterday? I had trouble with my technology here. It seems to me I got the best Wi-Fi in the world. But I was freezing. You remember that yesterday? Well, I had a technician come and tell me, well, it's, some of my wires were diverted or whatever. Hopefully it's all fixed now. But we want instant. People today are angry. I've never seen so much anger as I've seen today. I think part of it is the mask. I think it's the new normal. I hope not. I just see people, I'm a people person. I like smiling and talking to people. You go to the store today and put your mask on. I said, who are you, the COVID police? Like, I mean it. I had the mask on. I guess I didn't have it right up over my nose. But people are angry all the time. Have you noticed that? Boy, that's not good for them. Anger is not good for you. It's not. It will elevate your cortisol right through the roof. Yeah. And like I said, cortisol has a huge, huge effect. And I talked about it yesterday, its effect on the thyroid and weight gain. Did I talk about that? Probably not. Cortisol slows the thyroid down. Well, you'd think it would speed it up because no, but after a drip, it slows the thyroid down. That's why a lot of people get obesity or they get weight gain. They're stressed. The thyroid, you have a trouble converting T4 to T3, and T3 is the thyroid hormone that you need. The thyroid slows down. You want to know what that does? Your hair starts falling out. Ladies. Men, stress affects men, okay? But it doesn't affect our hormones, because we don't have hormones. We have hormones, but not hormones. Women have hormones. Why? They're so complicated. You have a lot of connections. Men, but stress is not good for a man. Most men that get heart attacks, the main thing is not cholesterol. It's inflammation attacking the blood vessels. But inflammation and add fuel to the fire, cortisol, and men generally will get attacked in their heart. Women will get attacked on their thyroid. They'll gain weight. Oh, doc, I can't lose weight. Yeah, well, your cortisol's too high. And it's messing up your thyroid gland. There's a big connection there. And then you add estrogen on top of the package. And estrogen is a growth hormone. Guess what it loves? Fat. So that's another symptom, possible symptom. You have to look at that. Is it possible cortisol? Yes, it could be. Fatigue, pain, anxiety, depression, weight gain, hair loss. Hair loss. Thousands of times I've seen that. Decreased immunity, digestive issues. These are all connection to, and then you get intolerances, food allergies. You never had them before. Your gut got changed. The microbiome got changed. Antigens. Okay? Everything that comes into your body looks at it and says, oh, friendly or full. That's how your immune system works. Everything that comes in, food, oh, that's friendly. You had a piece of steak, friendly. But what happens if your microbiome is disturbed? Then it looks at something that's supposed to be friendly, like dairy. And now you can't have dairy. What happened? Yeah. You have to look at stress can do that because it can change the microbiome. And now your immune system inside your gut, you got 80% of your immunity is in your gut. And now it becomes autoimmune. Any allergy really is autoimmune. Some are worse than others, like MS, Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, Sjogren's, rheumatoid arthritis, psoriasis, gut skin. You know what acne is? You know, they always talked about it's an overgrowth of bacteria. Yeah, but it's a gut issue. Often stress related. Even young people, I know, they get a perfect storm. You know, but they're stressed. Stress adds fuel to the fire. It's a big, big factor. So fix it. That's why vitamin E is so good. What's vitamin E? Exercise. It helps. Now, don't overdo it. You don't have to be at the gym for 2 hours. You really don't. I think people over-exercise. And that's stressful on the body. I always used to be against marathon. I was a runner. My dad ran in 1967, and I followed him. I learned to run early. My dad was the first jogger in the world, I think. When there wasn't even a word for it. The only time you ran in the early 60s or in 67, you know when you ran? When the police were chasing you. You didn't go run. You didn't go outside. Let's go for a run. There was no such thing as jogging when I was a kid. My dad started when he found out he was diabetic. I ran for years and years and years, but I never ran long distance. 30 minutes. And people would try to get me into marathons. I said, nah, that ain't good for you. It's too much. You're not a horse. You're not made for long distance. You're not. Walking, better. But, you know, vitamin E, exercise, very good for you. Ladies, exercise. It'll lower your stress. Get in the sun. Why? Because the sun gives you melatonin. Your body makes melatonin. And melatonin is going to help you sleep. You know how you get melatonin? You got to get in the sun. Yes. Oh, doc, the sun, skin cancer. And I mean that. I didn't say go burn like a lobster in the sun. You need the sun. And if you can't get the sun, you better take vitamin D. It helps. Okay, enough pontificating for today. Now, if you have not signed up for our webinar tonight, 7 p.m., I'm sure Brandy will put it right on our private Facebook group, how to sign up for tonight to get on to the live seminar. These are always fun. We're going to talk about bulletproofing your lungs. Tony Jr. and I, you're getting us together. Doesn't happen often on, on the podcast or whatever, but you're going to get us tonight. Okay, sign up for that. Friday is question and answer. So if you have any questions and you can't ask them tonight, then talk to us. We'll be send in your questions. We'll be happy to answer them on Friday. Join the private group, Martin Clinic Facebook private group. Great group. It really is. I don't have to answer half the questions. The folks know the answers to them, and they're already giving them back to the group members. I like that. I like that. Okay, we'll talk to you soon. Remember, sign up for tonight.